Hello, loves. Okay, so we are going to be doing a chill, relax, hang out reading sprints, which I'm excited about. I used to do this a lot for the besties over on Patreon, but things are changing over there and here as well. So I figured that instead I would try and do more of that here depending on how things go. So, in all honesty, I forgot all about this reading sprint until I saw the notification and I was like, wait, I'm supposed to do that this weekend. But fortunately, everything worked out because I had pushed it out later so that I can anyway. Long story short, we're here. So thank you so much for joining me. We're going to hang out. We're going to chill. We're going to relax. It's going to be fun times. I have several books here. I have some books that I have read recently to do some like little bit of chats in between, depending on what we're doing. I have some books that I am reading that I'm going to try and touch on for the whole, reading sprints. And then I also have some backup books that I want to read as well that are like tabletop role-playing game related. I also have the Sunbearer Trials, which we are going to be doing a live show for next weekend. And I just set that up. So next Sunday, if you're interested, join me. Now is the perfect time to read it if you haven't already. I'm technically not going to read it until the day before the live show or like 2 days before, because that's typically when I start it. But wanted to bring it up so that you guys know, because we are doing that. It's a live show heavy month. Yeah. But yeah, let me know what you guys are going to be reading in the reading sprints. Before we get into the first sprint, let's show this over here. Sorry about that. My family is texting, and let me see if I can put this on focus so that's not so loud. I don't know. Oh, just kidding. Do not disturb for 1 hour. Hopefully that'll fix that while they're figuring out their stuff. But yeah, so we're going, before gotta get my mind straight. Yes, let me know what you're planning on reading or doing. This could be a productivity sprint instead of a reading sprint. That's what I used to do with the patrons. So like you could do it could be drawing, it could be reading, it could be working on whatever. But before we get into that, I did want to give you guys some updates because as you guys know, I just got back from a break and some big things are going to happen and coming soon, and that'll affect the YouTubes. So this is, I guess, a good time to talk about that. I think when I'm doing the reading vlog where I include this, I think I'm going to be doing a fantasy vlog next week. I'll also give the update for people who aren't, here. But long story short, I am focusing or going to shift my focus from this channel over to my GM Witch channel. Nothing's really going to change here, except that I won't be posting as often, depending on how much is going on the other channel. Sometimes you may not notice it. Sometimes you might. I will be at the very least always doing the monthly TBR game because I have some plans for next year that I'm super excited about. We're going to get a TBR game makeover, and I'm going to be sharing that with the patrons, which even Patreon is going to focus more on the GM Witch channel because I'm going to be doing that as like a little business thing. I'm going to be doing arts and like adventures and zines and all of that stuff. So that's going to be my main focus. And then the channel is going to support the online shop, the GM Witch online shop that I'm going to launch probably next year. If we're being honest, like it's going to take a while. But yeah, so hopefully we can do more stuff like this when I'm not able to do more actual like full on videos, because I'm probably going to cut back on vlogs. I do want to do the fantasy vlog, but we'll see. I'm going to try and mostly just talk about the books. It might be more of like a fantasy wrap up with a little bit of vlogging. I don't know. I need to figure out a way to do vlogs that don't take like 2 days to edit. Because, I want to make the videos, but it's very time consuming. But yeah, I'm gonna real quick. Oh, I feel like I'll have a problem if I do that. I see that there's a good deal of you guys here. If someone could just say hi in the chat, I want to make sure that it's working. because, I can't see. Maybe I can pull it up on my phone and just mute my phone so that I don't run into any issues. Because I definitely don't want to be like talking here and you guys are like, I can't hear anything. Like, what's going on? Because I don't see anything in the sidebar. So if you guys are saying anything, I'm so sorry if I'm like ignoring you. It is not intentional. I'm just not seeing anything right now. So I don't even know how I can find this because I'm on my other channel right now. Let's just look up or look me up by name. There we go. Oh, it's interesting because here it's showing that there's a good chunk of you guys, but on my phone, I don't know. I guess this system's all kinds of messed up. It's really hard to see. Just open it. No, watch later. Okay, it looks like everything's working. Let me say, be civil and oh, okay, nice. Hello. Oh, what the heck? Oh, I see now. It's a little bit late. Thank you. There seems to be a delay. But yes, thank you so much. Welcome. I don't think I have any other updates before we kind of get into it. So I guess I can tell you a little bit about what I've been reading and what I'm gonna read, because this is a book channel. It's not tabletop role-playing games. Hi, Tia. Hi, SL. I'm going to say hi, the GM witch, but that's me. So that's a little silly. But reading lately has been, lots of fun stuff, trying to read a little bit more fantasy stuff that will probably bleed through because I'm going to be trying to, take inspiration for tabletop role-playing game stuff and like content that I'll be making for the shop. But still got some horror. This book, by the way, so this is a YA horror and it's not super scary, but take that with a grain of salt. I have not really been able to find a horror book that actually scares me. And I do know it scares other people, so it could just be me. But this one had a really interesting writing style where everything was kind of described in a very like personal way, which I really enjoyed, but I could tell not everyone's going to be into. So I guess keep that in mind if this is something that you are interested in. I don't 100% know how I feel about it, even after finishing it. And I'm just like, oh no, like, I don't know, but I'm leaning towards I like it. Like I think I gave it like a 4 stars with the like, oh no. Yeah. Then, okay, book. And then this will be the last like recap. Maybe I'll talk about more in the next chatty section of all of this. But I read Tender is the Flesh, another horror, but this one is in a world where animals have some sort of disease. If you eat them, you die, they become deadly, etc., etc. So they end up making special meat out of people. Oh, this book messed me up. But yeah. The other book that messed me up is the one that I'm going to start reading. So we're about to get into this. But first, oh yeah, you're getting back into fantasy too. I was in a fantasy reading some for a long time. No, I get it. I feel like fantasy can be really hard to like get into, right? Because some of them, it just takes a while for you to care. But then once you care, it's like really cool. I don't know. I don't know what it is because one of those books, was Son of the Storm. I like a lot of things about this, but I also didn't care about a lot of things. Like it took a really long time for me to be invested. I'm going to continue this series, but it's definitely not going to be a favorite, even though it was a good time because fantasy could be difficult. But the book I'm going to start with, because we're gonna start our first sprint. We're gonna go for 35 minutes for the first one, and we can adjust. I think I'm just going to do 35s. I used to do like 20 and then 40 and then 20, but I think I'll try and do a couple of 35s this round so we can have a little bit more chatting time if we want. I don't know. It's up to you. But I'm going to start with Know My Name by Chanel Miller. And this was a nonfiction, trigger warning, tough topics type of book. So I'm not going to be reading this the whole time. I tried reading some yesterday and had to stop. You might see me cry. Like it's a little bit difficult. But I do have some, funner alternatives that hopefully I will switch to if if slash when this becomes a lot. It's beautifully written, by the way. Like she did a really, really good job writing it. It's just the topic, the situation. It's very hard to read. So that's what I'm going to start with. As usual, would love to hear what you guys are starting with. But I guess this is the perfect time to, switch over to our Pomo focus and start our first sprint. And then after this, we will continue chatting. I will love to hear how things went, what you did. So I don't want to stop talking, apparently. My bad, you guys. Let's get to this first sprint. Good luck. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully that wasn't too shocking. I know if you're not paying attention, whenever it goes from like silence to someone being like, I'm back, it can be a lot. Those of you who may have been noticing what was going on my end, oh my goodness, this book got me all kinds of messed up. Not any shade to the book. So for clarity, this is a nonfiction story about SA, hard topics, trigger warnings, obviously, for anybody who may have experienced that. I don't want to specify because I know if I talk too much about it, YouTube gets all mad. So long story short, beautifully written. She does a really, really good job putting you into the situation, adding, beautiful storytelling. But unfortunately, what she went through is god awful. And so, yeah, if I continue, I'm probably going to cry. I was struggling. I don't know. I was struggling, you guys. I can't even. I don't know how, because I know this is really, really highly recommended. 100% understand. But seeing all of the people who read this and just knowing what they went through, and it seems worth it, obviously, because, she wrote this to share her experience. It's super important. And it's also really important to know what people go through. But like, oh, it's hard. I hate so much about our world in situations like that. Anyway, we're going to lighten the mood. I'm going to read something completely different for the next sprint. I'm not done. As you can see, again, it is a really good book. Like, I'm not mad at this book at all. I just can't read it all at once because it's very upsetting, the stuff that happens. But like, I'm highlighting left. Like, I don't think there's a page I haven't highlighted something, because the way she talks about things, the words, the explanations, there's some funny things, not a lot, some funny things. But yeah, we're switching to another book. So yeah, what are you guys reading? So Heaven Official's Blessing, Volume 6. Is that like a manga, or what genre? Listening to Randomized by Andy Weir from the Amazon original series. All right. It's a heavy read. It really is. It's yeah. I mean, you should read it. I don't want to discourage anybody from reading it unless you have specific reasons, because trigger warning, obviously. But it's really well, it just makes me so mad at the system and the world and how people treat people who go through stuff like that. Victims, basically, how people treat victims. A Chinese fantasy novel. So Volume 6. So it's like a series. Nice. Are you liking it? I'm starting a book that I'm not starting it. I'm going to switch back to a book. I'm close to finishing this, so I just want to finish it. I'm not actually enjoying this. I feel bad. This is Ink Blood Sister Scribe, a fantasy. No. Sorry, it's not fantasy. It is magical realism by Emma Torres, where basically this is a world where books are magic, right? So if you are skilled, like if you're a scribe, you can write magic in books and then people can read them and the magic will take effect. And there's like a family who has this collection of books, and then the father ends up dead with a book that they are not aware of, and things go out. Now, there's some cool aspects of it. I'm listening to the audiobook, so I have no clue how much of it is the audio being a problem versus the book being a problem, but I do not care. Sneak peek or spoilers on my thoughts on this one. I don't know how far I'm in it at the moment, because like I said, I'm listening to the audiobook. Technically, I'm listening to the audiobook for this as well, but the good audio. Cover looks beautiful. I know, right? Makes me mad. Also because I love witchy things. I'm so looking forward to Know My Name, but haven't been brave enough to begin it yet. Yeah. Again, I really recommend it, but clearly it's been hard for me. So I normally never read series, but have an official blessing is the exception. I love it so much. Okay, see, that's always good. I'm also not big on series, but part of me is wondering, especially in the fantasy world, if it's a little bit more worth it, because I find that it takes a while for me to get into fantasy novels, like epic fantasies. And by the time I get into it, it's over, right? So that makes sense for having like a series, because if you like it, then you're like, oh, I want more from this, versus having that struggle every time you start a standalone fantasy, unless it's like a romance fantasy. I feel like romance fantasy, I don't have an issue getting into it because I have a focus, which is the romance, and then all of the things are happening on the back burner, right? And then I can just enjoy it while I'm learning and getting more invested in the fantasy side of things. But that might just be me. I don't know. I've read some books where that wasn't the case, like Mistborn, the first book in I would say the trilogy, but apparently it keeps going because there's like a second trilogy. I don't know. I've only read the first three. And the first book in that one is super engaging. Highly recommended. It's a good standalone too, if I'm being honest, even though like it hints at more stuff. It was satisfying, at least for me. Finishing The Magician's Apprentice from Trudy Canavan. I'm so bad with names. You guys, I do this when I'm reviewing books, like I'll go there and I'll just like sit there and be like, oh, how do I feel so bad. Same as like you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I want to be like, hi, everybody, and like actually say your names. But I get so self-conscious about just butchering it. I'm going to butcher all of your names. So I try not, I don't, I'm sorry. But welcome to the sprints. I guess we can, I could start this. We've been talking for a little bit. We're doing 35-minute runs so far. Okay, let's see. So you read a Danish fantasy book in the sprint, but you think you're going to read V for Vendetta. Ooh. So I'm assuming the graphic novel. I don't know if there's like a full-on novel. Did I used to own the graphic novel? Oh, I'm going to be so mad if that's true. There's part of me that maybe I was just coveting it. But I think it was one of the many books that I had to get rid of over the years. I really enjoyed the movie. I like what is it? Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Why do I remember that? Apparently I thought it was cool enough to memorize, and I still remember it many years later. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. Recommend the fantasy books by C.M. Wagner. They are both standalones, but in the same universe. Yeah, I also like that. Granted, I see that a lot in romance where there's a series, but they're basically a series of standalone books, but some of the characters cross over, but mostly it doesn't matter. Especially because with here's the thing, that the people get together and you have like an idea of that if you read some books, like depending on the series. But that's how all romance books work, right? Like at the end, the couple gets together. That's not a surprise. So it's not really a spoiler when you read a book and you see the characters from like the books before together, because that was, it was going to happen. The point of a romance is the process of them getting together. But I am trying to read more fantasy in general, because as I hinted at the beginning of the sprints in the little update section, I'll probably talk about that in next week's vlog, which you won't see next week. I don't know when it's going to go out. But when I'm reading the Sunbearer Trials, which we will be doing, it's part of the POC book club, which we have a discussion for next Sunday. So if you're interested in joining me to talk about this and you haven't read it already, it's your time. It'll be fun, hopefully. But yeah, I'm going to be reading a couple of other fantasy books at the same time. Long story short, I'll give an update about the GM Witch channel, which I am going to be focusing on moving forward, but hopefully won't affect this channel too much, although I might be doing more sprints versus vlogs to give you guys updates about what's going on and for reading purposes and stuff like that, because vlogs are the hardest things for me to edit, but they're one of my favorite things to do. So that's going to suck because I'm definitely not going to be doing as many vlogs here on the channel. But I'm going to be experimenting this week for fantasy because I thought it would just be fun having I like themed vlogs too. And I was deliberately trying to read all of my non-fantasy books first, and then, you know, like have a bunch that I could read together for the rest of my TBR, right? Because I play my TBR game. Yeah, the graphic novel. The movie also made me curious about it when I watched it years ago. I didn't actually remember the movie at all. Yay. I actually, aside from that part, the little rhyme thing, I don't actually remember much of the movie. That and the shaving her head. But that's also because I've seen a picture from that scene in like different places. Like, you know, people use that. I think The Name of the Wind is like that too. I think I am I'm lost. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I forgot where in the conversation. I have seen The Name of the Wind movie, which is the one that's like, is it 2 hour, like two 2-hour sections? So it's like a 4-hour long movie. And I don't know if it's a spoiler if I say the like, frankly, I don't give a damn part, but that's like the main part that I remember. And then obviously there are some, you know, like cultural, not just cultural, but like historical / cultural things in that. I actually bought the book because I was interested. Oh, sorry. That may have been a little loud. Because I was interested in reading it, but like I'm sure it's going to be a chunker. I mean, like it's a big book, but it's not that big. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, I think hopefully I'll be able to finish this. I don't know. Hopefully I'll be able to finish this because I just want to get through it. I feel like I'm pretty close. Oh, that it's a good standalone. Is it really? But Gone. Okay, am I thinking? No. Okay, here's Name of the Wind. Name of the Wind. 2 different things. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Oh, I'm embarrassed now. Okay, now that makes more sense. I was thinking of something completely different that was not fantasy, and I was very confused. I was like, wait, how does this relate? It's because you were a completely different book, and I'm crazy. Let's ignore me. I don't know if there's a movie adaptation. I have not read The Name of the Wind, so I'm gonna put that on my list. I'm gonna try and really dive into more fantasies. I was so confused. Yeah, it's just me. I'm the one who messed up there. That was me. My bad, you guys. Yeah, that's embarrassing, especially because the movie that I messed it up with is like a really old movie. You've been waiting for the last book for 10 years. Oh. Oh, but you know, okay, it could have been similar to Mistborn, where Mistborn's a trilogy, but I said the first book in the trilogy is actually a good standalone, even though technically it's not a standalone. Because it's just a book that works that way. I'm really bad with names, and that's including actors. I want to say yes, though. I don't know, though. Now they have to go and watch this. You can no. It's like an old Southern belle. It's got the famous I don't know, it's famous for being really, really long. And it's one of the movies, I think it's like I don't know, here me talking about things that I don't know the specifics to, but there was a black actress who played the nanny in that movie, and it was like a famous thing. It's not a great thing, but like racism at the time. So it was like a big deal for her because she got paid, but it wasn't, a nice. Yeah, it is. Yeah, gone with the wind is what I thought you. That is the one that I mistook what you were saying. I guess had a dyslexic moment right there. Let's just. It is a trilogy, but there's no cliffhanger at the end of it. Yeah, okay. So I'm assuming that's probably the conversation then, because I brought up the Mistborn thing where it doesn't feel cliffhangery. Like it's satisfying to finish the first one, even though it's the beginning of a trilogy. And I actually really like that trilogy. But yeah. All right. This is fun. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I definitely want to do more of these, which I guess is good because that'll probably be an easy way that I can keep up with content when I'm busy with the other stuff and like give you guys updates and read stuff. But I also really like doing productivity. I am reading this time around, but at least for the patrons, when I was doing these, we would do productivity sprints where it was like, you can do whatever you want. I usually read in those too. Since I'm going to be doing the audiobook for our next sprint, which we're going to start in a second here, I might try and do my daily drawing. I've been doing daily drawings. So it might not look like I'm reading, but I will be listening to the audiobook and drawing for this sprint, so I can get that in. And then I'm going to continue eating my popcorn. So hopefully when I'm smaller, you won't be able to see too much. Book 1 and book 2 are separate times, so you don't really need the first one to read the second. Oh, yeah. I think that can be nice with some series, but then also because I'm not big on reading series, some of the problems will happen where a series I would enjoy, I'm not compelled to continue because, like the different parts of it are so separate. Because that is technically what happened to Mistborn originally. I read the first book and like for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years or something, I was all like, no, I'm good. And I had no intention of continuing it. But then I kept hearing such good things. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll reread the first one and read the rest of it. And so the beginning of this year is when I finally got around to it. But the first time I read it was, I think like 2019 or something. So it took a long time for me to finish that series but I will admit, my TBR game, giving myself points for continuing series has helped quite a bit, because then I'm more compelled to be like, oh, let me just continue a series because I'll get some extra points. Which also, God, I apparently don't want to stop chatting with you guys. It's so much fun just hanging out and chatting. But the ideas that I have for next year's TBR game, because I want to do a new also I'm eating like funfetti popcorn. I feel like it turned my teeth a little blue. You know what? It is whatever. It is what it is. Let's just pretend that's not a thing. Anyway, TBR next year, the points are going to be more meaningful, right? Because I've had a couple of people who are like, well, what does the points matter? And I'm like, well, you could get rewards if you want them, even though I don't do it. I just like being like beating myself and being like, oh, I did better than I did last month or whatever. So it works for me. But I have ideas on how to make it actually more meaningful for the gameplay as well. Finishing series is truly a harder thing to do than it should be. That's true. And part of that also is some of the series that you want to finish are not done. Like you can't. It's impossible because they're still working on it. And I hate that. I hate when I get to a series and I catch up and then I have to wait. Oh man, it's so hard. But okay, I think we could probably start our next brand. Actually, maybe it might be nicer to do a 25 minute one, not quite as long as the last one. And yeah, I will catch you guys in 25 minutes. Good luck with your reading. And I'd love to hear what you end up doing. Also, you obviously you don't have to read if you don't want to. You could do other things, but I'd still love to hear what you're doing. So catch you on the flip side. I have to mute myself. Hold on. Hello, hello, hello. We are back. There we go. Oh, my lipstick is rubbing off. I guess that's what happens when you eat during the stream. I am so hungry though. I can't help it. I'm gonna have to get some real food after this. Okay, there we go. Yes. So, how'd you guys go? How'd you do? What'd you get into? I have good news for myself. Enjoying Inkblood Sister Scribe way more this time around. I was not into it beforehand. Not that I wasn't into it. Okay, let me explain. The things that were happening I thought were vaguely interesting, but I just didn't care. Like the setup, I didn't feel personal connection to anything. It would, but this time around, way more into it. Way like we've gotten through the setup. We have some characters. There are still some things I don't really care about. This isn't going to be my next favorite thing, but I'm definitely way more interested, way more into it. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Because yeah, I was just trying to push through, admittedly. I was all like, I got this far, I might as well push through. I have like an hour left on the audiobook. And then I'm over here. You can't really see what I'm doing. Drawing poses, more dynamic, not more, some dynamic poses. Because I don't know, I'm my daily drawing is me just like practicing stuff, experimenting, practicing. It's nothing real serious. I started sharing it with the patrons, but it's all like fantasy, tabletop role-playing game type stuff, because that's kind of where everything's going to be shifting. So, like heads up. But yeah. That's where I'm at. Now it's tough because I was thinking that after this I was going to switch over to the RPG books that I'm currently reading, which are, just like supplemental type things for tabletop role-playing games. But I'm actually, I'm actually into this now. Like I'm kind of interested. So I might continue this for our next and probably last sprint of today, before we chat a little bit at the end and wrap things up. But yeah, I'm surprised because I was not into this. So like, turn around so far. Hopefully that stays true. I don't know if it's because I was just like looking for something different after that gut punch of my first book. Again, still recommend, but oh man, so upsetting. Okay, so we got some finishing up in here. Okay, so V for is this old copy from your library, now a major motion picture on the cover. I know, because the movie was so long ago at this point. Finish the infamously most devastating chapter of the series. Oh man, well, I know that's got to be, you did it. That's good. I have to say, sometimes like it's the things like that are sometimes also just like the best. I know I read I can't even think, but I read a book recently, and the hardest part, I was bawling. This is such a good book. Like, it makes you feel, right? I think the thing that is hard for me with the other book, though, the nonfiction book, is I don't, when it's a little harder when it's real, I don't know. Just saw these sprints and thought I'd join. I'm thinking of starting Mort by Terry Pratchett in the next sprint. Nice. Well, welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm really, really enjoying these. It's nice having so many people hang out. I think I'm going to try and do these more often, especially as I switch focus. I keep saying this because it's like a new big thing and I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So just FYI, the GM Witch channel is my tabletop role-playing game channel, right? It's a secondary channel. it's currently on hiatus, but I'm breaking the hiatus in September. I've already made some videos. That's basically what I'm focusing on right now. And I'm going to focus on that and working on the GM Witch online shop, which will probably launch next year. So it's technically not launched. I'm talking about it like it's live. It is live. I'm relaunching it. There are videos there already. Like I launched it a long time ago and then I had to put it on hold because I was focusing on this for a while in life and moving and all that big stuff. But yeah, let's see. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow. My bad, you guys. But yeah, it's starting out great. That's good. For I'm assuming this is V for Vendetta. Like your hair like that. Thank you. I've been wearing my hair up because it's been hotter. So this is my lazy updos. I really need to like recolor my hair. It's been a real long time. It's all grown out. How's the audiobook? I feel like everyone's talking about it. Maybe I should try it out. I'm assuming you're talking about Inkbloods to Scribe or the one from, I'm assuming it's this one because we talked about the other one earlier. The audiobook is good. I don't know if my little bit of detachment is from the audiobook or the physical like writing that happened in the beginning part. I'm enjoying it a lot more now though, which makes me think that the audiobook is fine. But yeah, I don't know. I'm also super forgiving when it comes to audiobooks. I've read some that I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. And then someone was all like, yeah, I didn't like the, this, that, or part of it. And I was like, oh, my bad. I guess I don't know. I'm just more forgiving. I think it's because, except that's not 100% true. I have read some books that people are like, this is fine. I'm like, I hate everything about this audio. So like maybe, I don't know. I guess it just depends on the person. I don't think it's bad. I would definitely do like the audio sample to see if you're into it. I feel like maybe she could be a little bit monotonous at times with the way that she reads the audiobook. But I also listen to audiobooks at like 2.5 speed. So my experience is going to be very different from someone who reads it at one speed. So just FYI, like if you're listening, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know 100% how I feel about this because, like I said, there's some really cool aspects to it, like things in it, magic building, characters, or whatever. But it took me a really long time to really care about what was going on. And even now, I don't really think I'm invested in the characters totally, except there are some things that are happening right now that make me think that might change because there's just some new dynamics that have been introduced that I'm interested in. But like I think it's technically spoiler territory if I was to say anything about it at this point, because I'm pretty far into it. I think I have like an hour left of the book. So yeah, I don't know if I would recommend it yet, but I wouldn't not recommend it. Like it's not a bad book is I guess what I'm getting at. You have to sleep. Oh no. Well, thank you for joining. I probably missed this. It looks like that was a little while ago. But yeah, thanks. 100% on team speed up audiobooks, but okay, 2.5 is okay. I shouldn't be saying this, but I sometimes get to 3.1, which is the max that it'll go. But it depends on the book and the narrator, because you have some narrators who speak fast already. And so like if I go up to 3, because 2.5 is my base, like it's a solid. It's no anything slower than that, I feel like it's molasses. Like people are like, I love you today. Like it's just so slow. But I get up, not just gotten, like it's there's a lot of books I've listened to at 3.1, not gonna lie. Because I'm so used to it now, right? Where I'm all like, oh, 2.5 will feel slow. But I've been doing it for like a long time. Like I know it's not going to be for everybody. I also listen to every single one of the YouTube videos that I watch on double speed. I watch YouTube on double speed. Like I realize this is like kind of weird, but like I consume a lot of things for like inspiration and for support of creators that I really care about. I also really love listening to like audiobooks, and it's just like a nice way to get through things. And I don't know. But again, there are some times where the narrator's speaking real fast regularly, and I actually have to like go back and be like 2.5. Like we need to slow this down so I can understand, because I just got to the point where I can read 2.5 sometimes. Yeah. It's funny how it works, because like at first when I started, you know, like I was at what was it, 50%, and I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. And then, you know, you get to 75. Oh, okay, this is cool. You know, you slowly go up, and now all of a sudden, like really, when I listen to things at normal speed, I'm all like, why are they talking so slow? Like I just trained my brain, I guess. Fortunately it doesn't affect things with like movies and stuff. Like I watch movies and I don't think it's slow, but I don't know, like the average things. Yeah, it's fun. I also do the same thing when I edit my videos. I edit my videos onto double speed so that I can get through it faster. And then I try to watch at least some parts and or the whole thing once at regular speed, because I know most people watch, you know, most normal people watch things at regular speed. They don't speed it up. So that is something that I end up doing. But yeah. I guess we're gonna go through one more. I am sad because I was gonna try and make some progress on these. I'm reading a little hint into the world of role-playing games, which if you guys don't know what that is, tabletop role-playing games are like things like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, Blade in the Dark, stuff like that. So it's just like games that you play at the table, which involves a lot of world making up stories and stuff like that, because I know I'm gonna say that a lot, especially as I'm focusing on that, but I have these books. This one was actually a gift, and I've been meaning to read it for ages, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. And this is a like really pretty book. Like I realize, which is something that's probably gonna transfer into the products that I end up making in the future, I really like graphic design. Like, man, like if something's really well put together, I really appreciate that like a lot. Maybe more so than other people. I mean, like if the content's good, the content's good, but if the content's mediocre but the presentation's really nice, I will still probably have a good time, depending on how I consume it. I know the thing that sucks about being somebody who listens to audiobooks for almost everything. So I feel like I have a piece of popcorn on my lip. But for almost everything, like there have been some instances where I listened to the audiobook of something, not realizing that they had like a really nice, I don't know, like illustration splash pages, or, you know, really cool graphic designs on how they set certain things up. And it just goes over my head because I just listened to the audiobook, and then I might like flip through the pages at some point to see where I am at in the book. And I'm like, oh, this would have been a great book to physically read. Yeah, but oh yeah, I guess I don't know how to skip the thingy. There we go. But yeah, we can start soon the last sprint for the session, and then we'll hang out a little bit more at the end, and then call it a day for this one. Okay, you say, if I hate the book, I might do 2x, but clearly not on your guys' level. My normal is 1.5-ish. See, okay, it's fine. It's good though. But at this point in time, I'm at max normal when I'm actually listening and comprehending. But before I would go to max sometimes on books that I didn't enjoy. Just to like get through and see if I could get to a part that was like interesting, so I didn't have to like DNF, because I'm like you, I don't want to DNF, especially if I've made like if I'm just so close, I just want to push through it. Now I can't do that because I actually normal listen to the max, so I can't go higher. I don't have anything that would go higher than that, which I don't imagine it would be possible to listen higher than 3.1. Like that pushes it sometimes, like even for me, and I'm used to it. But yeah, okay. I guess we can hop on to our last sprint. Again, thank you so much, everybody who's hanging out with me. We will talk some more at the end. But just in case, I know not everybody's able to like stay on, and if we're all like quiet, like I just want to say my thanks. It's so nice hanging out with you guys. Need to hit that Goodreads goal. Fortunately, I've technically hit mine so far for the year, which is friggin' surprising. So I'm trying to see if I can hit it again. Like just double my goal. Which is really it's insane. But I slowed down quite a lot the second half of the year. Like February is always my biggest year because I just read a whole bunch for Black History Month, and I read a lot of romances. And romances, if I'm just doing a month of romance, I bet you I can read an embarrassing amount of books. Like I could probably read like 50 books or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but I'm guessing because I read like three books in February, and not all of them were romances, and everything slowed down because I read it was crazy. It was something insane that I wasn't expecting. But it's because I'd finish one and I'd start the next, and I finish one and I start the next, and all of a sudden I was all like, wow, I just read 7 books in one day. Like, it was, yeah, not normal, not normal. But romances are so easy. Yeah, I so get you with the romance. It's true. Like other books, it's harder. It's harder to read a lot of other books because it's harder to get into. It's harder to comprehend everything. You know, I don't know. It's just eat like butter. Anyway, I keep doing this every time. I'm like, oh, I just want to keep talking to you guys. But let's do our last sprint. I guess I'll press start, and I will catch you on the flip side. Happy reading, and we'll chat at the end. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully that's not too startling. I don't know if you guys are able to hear that like tweedly tweedly. That's not how it sounds. But the Pomodoro sounds, tweet, tweet, tweet. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, or if it's just like my voice to interrupt the sprint, the silence. But yeah, how'd that go? Did you guys? Was it good? Were you reading? What was going on? I made more progress on Inkblood's Sister Scribe, and I am fairly invested. I feel I'm invested. There's some things happening and I actually care now, so that is a good sign. Unfortunately not able to finish it here, so hopefully, although in all honesty I think I'm kind of excited about switching over to some other stuff, so I might not finish it today, but hopefully I'll finish it pretty soon. Speaking about Black History Month, have you read Passing? Read it recently and loved it. Oh, no, I ended up reading it in February, and I wasn't as into it as I thought I would be. I think I was just expecting something else. Like, I didn't dislike it. I just felt like it was missing stuff. And I think part of it is because I was confusing it with some of the other books that have been talked about on BookTube with like a similar premise, but that were like more generational and more involved. And so I was a little bit confused when I got to the end and I was like, it's done? That's it? But yeah, I wanted to like it so much more because I ended up getting one of the like nice editions of it. Like I was like, I want that version, and I went out of my way to find it because it wasn't available where I like wanted it to be. So I had to go to some like weird like side shop, which is funny because that edition is available for other books. I think it's available now, like if you just switch the editions on like Amazon or whatever. But yeah, heartbroken that I didn't dislike it though. I'm making it sound, it's just because I was disappointed. Like I wanted to like it more than I did. Made it to chapter 8. Amusing so far. Nice. Okay, that's good. I feel like we're doing good. This is a good sprint. I'm assuming. There's probably a couple of you who are just like, no. This was not successful. This book is, trash or whatever. But hopefully that's not the case. I'm just making positive assumptions. I'm hoping. Yeah, it's too bad. It was gripped. Oh yeah. Well, I think it did some pretty cool things. Unfortunately, the edition's in the other room and it would take too long for me to grab it. Speaking as an addict of pretty editions of classics, yeah. I wonder if maybe I can look it up real quick, because I'm pretty sure I saw recently that it is on like Amazon. If you look, oh wait, no, but it's not showing the hardback. See all formats and editions. Yeah, it's not showing it. It was some other classics that I had saw that they have in this particular set that I really like. Like it's a cream book with pretty font is the edition that I have. I wish I knew. I'm bad. It's not the normal one because I actually get a lot of I think just like the Penguin classics. I have a couple of the green books, the old ones, and then I actually do like the like current like cheapo Penguin classics that they have. I'm like building a little set of those. Apparently there's 2 different versions because they have the one where the little penguin, like it's in a different spot and it looks different. I think one's orange and one's white. And I have both. I didn't realize. So my one collection is mixed, unfortunately. It wasn't intentional, but I just didn't realize it at first. And I'm sure most of you guys can agree with this if you collect books in addition to reading them. I hate when books in the same series specifically, like same, I wouldn't say like editions because they're different books, but like part of the same set of editions don't match. Or Or this is something that happened to me recently, a series I was collecting. They just have soft cover for the first 2 books in the series and then hardcover for the next 2. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I'm trying to get a matching set and it's impossible. I'm so mad. But like, yeah, when like the font for like the author's name is super different, or like the placement, like I don't know why they do. Like when I see the spine of my books in the series, I want them to line up real nice and pretty. And some publishers do you dirty. Or to just be like one of the books. Yeah, it drives you crazy. I know, right? You have that one too, the editions where the text is like on the side. I think so. Yeah. Yes, I think that's the one. I hate when they don't keep, hate when they do not keep the editions uniform. Like if it's part of the same series, like it's messed up when they do a completely different design for one of the books. Like it's like someone's purposely trying to mess with all of us collectors. And I mean, like 100%. I'm a book collector. I want it to look nice. And I'm still an illustrator. I'm an illustrator. I have an interest in graphic design. Like I care about aesthetics. And so it's like a pet peeve. Heartbreaking, but to some degree I'm just like, it's okay. Like hopefully eventually they'll fix it and I can. Part of me wanted to look into seeing if I could find an affordable, easy way to print my own covers, like order covers, and then just design fixed versions or like better versions. Because there's sometimes where you'll have like a book that you really love, so the cover is kind of ugly. Oh my goodness. I feel bad when I'm talking about the aesthetics of books though, because some of my like books that I really like, and I hate saying this, right? The 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, the covers are fine. Not my favorite. I like the book so much more than I like the covers, right? Like I just want so much more for the I think they're fine though. Like they're not bad. I think it's cool what they did. Not my favorite, so sometimes I wish I could just redesign them and just like print them out. But those are soft covers. Someday, hopefully, they'll get some special editions of that series, because it's popular. People like it. It did really well. We had a resurgence in the last couple of years, so you would think that they would get us some special editions. Gotta like, I don't know, like write into all of the places and be like, hey, how about, the Broken Earth trilogy is what I believe it's called. Get that one, yeah, ruining the aesthetics of our bookshelves. It's true. And I mean, like, I don't know. It's just heartbreaking when you see them together and they just don't match up. It feels like a slap in the face every time you see it. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not that bad, obviously, but it is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. But yeah, this is I guess this is it. Wow, we've been going for a while. I think this is longer than I normally. Oh, just by a little bit. Usually I go at 2 hours, but we've been going for 20 minutes over, which was fun. Maybe we can do some longer ones in the future if this becomes a more regular thing. This was a lot of fun too, just like being able to hang out with you guys, making some progress on some books that I wanted to do. And yeah, that I might be a little bit careful in the future not to read a book that I know is going to emotionally wreck me right off the bat, because like the first print was a struggle for me, like for real. Thanks for the sprint's a nice surprise today. Yay, I'm so glad. Yeah. And I guess a reminder for those of you still here, next Sunday, we'll be doing the POC Book Club chat discussion for the Sunbearer Trials. Usually starts off non-spoilery, but that doesn't last very long before we actually get into the spoilers. Because I talk for a little bit, I'm waiting for some, and then I'm just like, okay, let me just talk about the things that I'm excited about. I haven't read this one yet. I always read the POC book clubs basically like two days / the day before the live show, so it's like super fresh in my head. So yeah, haven't read it yet. Hopefully I will enjoy it. It's been my first time joining one of your sprints. It was nice. Thank you for the company. Oh yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, I used to mostly do these for my patrons, but now since I'm switching my patron focus to tabletop role-playing game stuff for the GM Witch channel, I want to do more like reading sprints just publicly here. I wanted to do that anyway. Technically, this was scheduled before I decided to make the changes, but then I was on the break last month. So it was super nice talking to you guys. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys next weekend, and hopefully I'll see you in future, because I want to do more of these. Maybe we can try and do, once a month, once every other month, something like that, figure something out. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Happy reading and whatever it is that you're doing. And yeah, thanks for being awesome.